The roar of the crowd echoed through the crystalline dome of Vorthak Prime's greatest gladiatorial arena. 50,000 beings from across the galaxy had gathered to witness another inevitable slaughter. In the center of the blood-soaked sand stood Kexathera, the apex predator of Andromeda, a towering beast that had never known defeat. Standing 12 feet tall on digitigrade legs, Kexathera's obsidian carapace gleamed under the arena's harsh lights. 4 arms, each ending in razor-sharp talons, flexed with anticipation. Its elongated skull housed a brain that processed combat calculations faster than most species' supercomputers. For 7 cycles, it had torn through champions from every corner of known space. Warrior poets from Zelthara, berserkers from the ice worlds of Kroon, even the legendary blade dancers of Ethereal Prime, all had fallen before its methodical brutality. The arena master, a corpulent hut-like creature named Vexagoler, raised his 6 arms to silence the crowd. His voice boomed through the arena's bioacoustic amplifiers. Citizens of the galaxy, today we witness history. No challenger has survived more than 3 minutes against the apex predator. But our next contender claims to represent a species so young, so primitive, that they haven't even achieved faster-than-light travel through their own technology. Laughter rippled through the stands. The betting pools heavily favored another swift execution. From the backwater world of Terra, I present a human. The arena's massive gates groaned open, and Captain Marcus Chen stepped into the blazing light. To the crowd, he appeared laughably small, barely 6 feet tall with no visible natural weapons. His skin was pale, unmarked by battle scars that decorated most warrior species. He wore simple combat fatigues and carried only a standard plasma rifle and a strange curved blade on his back. Kexathera's 4 eyes studied this new prey with predatory interest. In its vast experience, smaller creatures either relied on speed, toxins, or advanced technology. This human possessed none of these advantages. The creature's scent carried none of the pheromones of fear that usually preceded a fight. If anything, the human seemed relaxed. Begin. Vexagoler's command cracked like thunder. Kexathera launched, itself forward with terrifying speed, covering half the arena in a single bound. Its strategy was always the same, overwhelming force applied with surgical precision. The crowd held its breath, anticipating the familiar spray of alien blood. But Marcus didn't run. He didn't even raise his weapon. Instead, he stood perfectly still and looked directly into Kexathera's eyes. The apex predator skidded to a halt, just yards away, confusion replacing bloodlust. In 7 cycles of combat, no prey had ever maintained eye contact. Every species possessed the same instinct, to flee from a superior predator. Yet this human stood motionless, his gaze unwavering. Marcus slowly reached behind his back and drew his blade. Not the plasma rifle, but an ancient katana that gleamed with an inner light. The weapon seemed to hum with contained energy, its edge sharp enough to split atoms. "I know what you are," Marcus said quietly, his voice somehow carrying across the silent arena. "You're not just a predator, you're apex, because you understand combat as an art form. You study your opponents, analyze their weaknesses, adapt your strategy." He raised the blade in a perfect salute. "So do we." Kexathera's mandibles clicked in what might have been acknowledgement. For the first time in its life, it faced something that recognized its intelligence rather than simply fearing its strength. The human began to move. It wasn't the frantic scrambling of desperate prey or the rigid formations of military training. Marcus flowed like water, each step placed with mathematical precision. He advanced in a spiral pattern that seemed random, but forced Kexathera to constantly adjust its position, disrupting the creature's usual rhythm. When Kexathera finally struck, its claws whistled through empty air. The human had simply shifted, allowing the massive talons to pass inches from his throat. The counterattack came instantly, not at Kexathera's armored hide, but at the precise joint where its leg connected to its torso. The katana sang as it sliced through biometal sinew. Dark ichor sprayed across the sand as Kexathera stumbled, roaring in pain and fury. No opponent had ever wounded it so quickly, so efficiently. The crowd erupted in shocked gasps and angry shouts from those who had bet on another swift execution. But Marcus wasn't finished. As Kexathera spun to face him, the human was already moving again, flowing around the creature's wild swipes like smoke. Each time the beast committed to an attack, Marcus was elsewhere, his blade finding another gap in its seemingly impenetrable armor. The pattern became clear to those with tactical minds in the audience. The human wasn't trying to kill Kexathera, he was teaching it. Each cut was precise, controlled, designed to limit mobility without causing fatal damage. Marcus was demonstrating a level of combat mastery that transcended mere physical prowess. For 10 minutes, the dance continued. Kexathera's movements grew slower, more deliberate. It stopped attacking in mindless fury and began to truly observe its opponent. The human style was unlike anything in its vast combat database, fluid, yet structured, ancient yet perfectly adapted to three-dimensional warfare. Finally, Kexathera did something unprecedented. It stopped fighting altogether. The great predator lowered itself to the arena floor in a gesture of submission that sent shockwaves through the crowd. Its massive head touched the bloodied sand as it acknowledged a superior warrior. Marcus sheathed his katana and approached the fallen giant. He placed one hand on Kexathera's scarred carapace and spoke words only the creature could hear. Strength isn't about domination. It's about understanding. When not to use it, Kexathera's response was a low, rumbling sound that vibrated through the arena. Not a roar of challenge, but something that might have been respect. The crowd sat in stunned silence as Marcus helped the injured predator to its feet. Together, they walked toward the arena's exit, leaving behind a legacy that would reshape the galaxy's understanding of what it truly meant to be Apex. In the betting pools, a single wager had been placed on an outcome nobody thought possible: mutual respect. The bettor, an elderly human ambassador, smiled as he collected his winnings. Humanity had announced its arrival on the galactic stage, not through conquest but through the oldest language in the universe, the warrior's code that transcended species, culture, and evolution itself. The arena would never be the same.